The gentleman from Lancaster, Mr. Pollard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Rise for an introduction and a point of personal privilege.
Gentleman may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our prayer this morning was given by Reverend Ken Rioland from Macedonia Baptist Church in Heastville. He's joined in the back by his lovely wife, Cynthia Rioland, who is also a co-pastor of Macedonia Baptist Church, and Reverend Wayne Ball, who's also a pastor. At Macedonia Baptist Church, they know that Jesus said to cast your nets upon the right side of the boat, and that he told his followers to be fishers of men. And Mr. Speaker, even though I knew, if we could please give them a warm house welcome.
Gentleman from Lancaster.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, even though my personal mantra is to work twice as hard and to work twice as smart and to plan twice as far in advance, I have to say it's a coincidence that these friends are here for this point of personal privilege. When I first ran in 1999, Mr. Speaker, I said it was my hope to serve a total of 6 to 10 years. My first time in the House of Delegates, I served for 6 years. And, Mr. Speaker, this cycle I've served for 4 years. And therefore, I will not be seeking re-election this fall. Now, I feel comfortable, Mr. Speaker, that I could win re-election. I've got 5 opponents in an August primary date. It keeps getting a little better every day. But you shouldn't run for office, Mr. Speaker, just because you can win. You run to serve. This is public service, Mr. Speaker, and I simply have no desire to make this my career. I've served now for 10 years, and my decision is really that basic. And, Mr. Speaker, since I didn't give a speech last time, I was wondering if I could make my speech twice as long this time. I have 3 pieces of advice, Mr. Speaker. It'll save the body time in the long run, I assure you. My first piece of advice, Mr. Speaker. We talk a lot down here about what the Constitution means, about constitutional powers and how far government should go, and what the proper role of government is. But throughout these conversations, Mr. Speaker, we really ignore what I consider to be the elephant in the room of a better republic. And the elephant in the room of a better republic, Mr. Speaker, in my mind, is the political parties in general and the caucuses specifically. Nowhere in the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, are parties mentioned. And certainly the founders did not have caucuses in mind. And why are these bodies injurious to a better republic? Why are they the elephant in the room of a better republic? Well, because, Mr. Speaker, political parties and caucuses are as often about power as about doing what's right. Everyone here, and I'm guilty, Mr. Speaker, has seen their caucuses engineer a vote designed to embarrass, or engineer getting a bill killed so the other side doesn't get the credit, or killed a bill on retribution. And, Mr. Speaker, when we think about our Christian mission, when we think about our better republic, we think about forcing embarrassment, denying credit, retribution. These are not the words to a more perfect union. Indeed, the political parties which George Washington warned against. George Washington, born in my district, before he moved up to Stafford and then a little bit closer to the Beltway. These very political parties are what George Washington warned about and are never mentioned in our founding documents. My second piece of advice, Mr. Speaker, is unto the first. And this is to all the members here. Work the floor, work the floor, work the floor. As members of this body, Mr. Speaker, we are at a severe disadvantage compared to lobbyists. Just think about it. There are 8 lobbyists for every delegate. They have a half-dozen bills to work. We have twice that many. They have people hired on both sides of the aisle. And we handicap ourselves through our own political labels. They have spending accounts. We have none. They have a constituency of 1. We have many constituencies. We have other jobs. This is their job. They represent an interest, Mr. Speaker, which might include good public policy. But their duty is not to our constituents or to the free market. Their duty is to their client or to their shareholder. And so, Mr. Speaker, and I was talking to Delegate Clark Hogan about this just a few years ago on this floor, our best tool, really our only tool which we have, which others do not, is our time on this floor, our time with our colleagues. In this chamber, we need to work our bills or try to kill other bills which aren't good public policy. And Mr. Speaker, I'd say that if you aren't maximizing your time on the floor when talking with your colleagues, working your bills, then you're ceding your elected authority to every other member and to every other lobbyist. If you aren't working your ideas, or if you're only talking to your own party, if you're only talking to your own caucus, then you're putting your ideas at a competitive disadvantage. And finally, Mr. Speaker, we work in the best building in the world. This Capitol, designed by Jefferson, inspired by Roman ideals, this is our office building. This Capitol is a monument to the American ideal that we can make the world a better place. And yet, Mr. Speaker, I would say that we pay it little respect. We exit so often through the steps. We scurry down through the catacombs, or scurry down through the basement like mice in catacombs. So my final piece of advice is this, Mr. Speaker. Every now and then, I would say to members of this body, exit through the double doors. Walk through the rotunda, and don't walk on the north side of Washington, Mr. Speaker. Don't walk behind his back. Instead, walk at his feet. And walk at the feet of the other great Virginians. And if we're only for a few moments, few fleeting moments every week, take a moment to reaffirm why we're here, what we are doing to fulfill our own faith and reason for being, and what we are doing to make the lives of everyday Virginians even better. I thank the body for their time.